Hello and welcome back to the Fourth Down Focus, episode 9. Is this episode 9?
Believe so.
I think so, yeah. We're joined with James and Kian today. No, Caden. He's I don't know what he's doing, but he's not here. So I think we'll have his predictions in this video. He's not taking his bye week yet. It's technically the Halloween episode, but Kian's forgot his costume, so I'm not wearing mine either because the joint. But go on.
You could still wear yours. I had to come home from my car's MOT and I forgot. All right, let's just put that out there now. I'm not the letdown.
I've got part of it here because I am once again.
I'm not the letdown.
We are prediction champions again, me and Kian. We'll probably get into that.
Yeah.
I've still got the belt. But we're going to get on, as we always do, to our teams and how they did. I'm going to start for once. Look at this man behind me. Oh, there he is. Jameis Winston led the Browns to a win over the Baltimore Ravens. What were it, 29-24, I think it ended. Cedric Tillman got 7 catches for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, what a team. What a team. I'm just going to let you two carry on. Go on. One of you two carry on, because I'm just buzzing.
I mean, yeah, I'll just get mine out of the way. I cannot stand Daniel Jones. It's actually getting worse every week. I didn't think it could get worse, and it can. That interception in the last drive of the game is genuinely might be one of the worst things I've ever seen. Deontay Banks getting shouted at every play for a lack of effort. Dexter Lawrence looks like he wants to just die. I don't know, playing in this defense. I don't blame him because it's painful. At least Tyrone Tracy's all right, though, I suppose. So, we haven't got to worry about running back in the draft. So that's the only positive I can take from basically anything we do. Because, yeah, the worst bit is we're 2-6 and we're still 9th on the draft order for next year.
Don't worry about when 2-6 well.
Yeah, because there's like 8 teams who are 2-6 apparently. So it's really great. We have absolutely nothing going well for us, and I can't wait to draft another mediocre quarterback and it be the same story for the next 6 years.
Kian?
Someone might have to set a timer. I've got a lot to say about.
I'll give you know what? I'll give you a minute. I
might need longer.
You've got a minute. We've got stuff eventually. Right, ready? Go.
Antonio Pierce is not a head coach. Get him sacked now. He needs going. Luke Getsky is the worst offensive coordinator in the league. He needs to be gone. Right, where else can I even go? Gardner Minshew isn't a quarterback. Gardner Minshew should be a fucking, I don't know, he should just be doing his barbecue in his back garden because there's no way that man's a quarterback. The offense lacks effort. It lacks energy. The defense is okay, but there's just so much wrong. National Tight Ends Day, and you throw Brock Bowers the ball 3 fucking times. For starters, you take over at the 3-yard line. The 3-yard line we took over at against Kansas City Chiefs. We didn't even kick a fucking field goal. So there's so much going wrong. These are meant to be, this was not even meant to be a rebuilding year. It was meant to be something special, but we're shit. We're not going to win another game this year, which is great because I think we might end up with the first overall pick. So cheers to the Browns for winning their game. I hate this franchise, and I'm officially a Bears fan for the rest of the season.
You did it in 58 seconds, mate. Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I don't know about that first pick comment. The Titans do exist.
No, they're going to win. But we won't win another game as long as Luke Getsy is the offensive coordinator.
Will the Titans without D-Hop?
I think they'll find a way. We are genuinely, I think, we're the worst team in the league.
We do still exist. God. We've got 1 win. We still exist.
You can't even say that the Panthers are worse than us because they fucking beat us.
That's true. Oh, I've just remembered that I wasn't here last week. And I even spoke about Deshaun Watson's injury. Look, I don't cheer for injuries, but when it's him...
I think it's acceptable, to be fair.
He's a terrible human being and a terrible player. And I'm happy that he's gone for the rest of the season. Thank God for that. Move us on, James.
Well, now, see, you got all that joy with the quarterback, and I've just been informed Daniel Jones is starting again on Sunday against the Commanders, and I just can't be bothered anymore. I don't know what that guy's got to do to get dropped. They must just want to lose, because it's the only reason he's there is because we're trying to lose games.
Who is your backup?
Drew Lock.
Oh, Christ, he's shit and all.
Or Tommy DeVito. I'd rather DeVito. He's better than both of them.
Tommy DeVito.
He's better than both of them, 100%. But they won't put DeVito in because we'll win too many games and end up with a terrible draft pick again.
I wouldn't say you'd win too many games.
Yeah.
Now, yes, he would. I sort of
One or
think
two,
we'd be
maybe.
we'd be 5-3 with Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if I disagree.
Tyrod Taylor in
Yeah,
2024.
but like you can throw the ball, and there's been so many games
Can he?
we've been handed so many games where just like the teams are trying to lose, like the Bengals were trying to lose, the Steelers were trying to lose, and we still lost.
It's
So
rough.
like, yeah, just need to get rid of him. But we'll move on. First up was a Thursday night game, the Rams versus the Vikings, and in a potentially shocking turn of events, it was the Rams who came out on top. Puka back over 100 yards receiving, cutback receiving touchdown. So my question is, firstly, was this as big as an upset as we think it was? And secondly, are the Rams potentially a playoff contender now with them two back in the frame? I'll start with you, Max.
I did not watch that game. I'll be dead honest. I missed most prime time games this week actually. So what was the question? Are they prime time? Not prime time. Are they playoff teams with?
Are they a playoff team? And was it necessarily an upset, or was it more just them being back to where they're supposed to be?
What are they now? Are they 3-4?
3-4.
3-4. In that division, it'll be tough because you got the Seahawks and the 49ers who are also both in weird positions where you think they should be winning some of the games and they're losing them, and then some of them you don't expect them to win and they pull it out. I think they've definitely got a much better chance now that they've got the two main weapons back, but I don't think they actually make the playoffs this season, unfortunately, for the Rams fans. But I'll let Kian carry on because he actually watched that game and I did not.
Firstly, a huge shout out to the refs for giving me a correct prediction. That missed face mask call is hands down the worst decision in the NFL this year. There's so much money in this league, and through winning stuff, to be missing calls like that is just a fucking joke. The laws need to be looked at. Why can't you challenge a face mask call below the 2 minutes? I just think it's farcical, really. But going on to your two questions, they looked a better team. The Rams. I thought they looked back to the Rams that we know are a decent side. Whether they're a playoff team, like Max has said, that record is going to be really hard to make the playoffs from. But I'm going to go on the flip side. I think they do make the playoffs. I think they looked very, very strong, and against the Vikings team that is slowly coming back down to earth as well. So whether it was an upset, I think that's more the Vikings coming back down to their level more than a huge upset.
Yeah, I mean, if I speak about the rest of the Giants game, my head will be on Mars because I've never seen so many penalty flags thrown, and then they miss stuff like that obvious DPI on Neighbors for a touchdown. Everything else, roughing the kicker when they returned it for a touchdown. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about the rest because I'll get into a spiral. But I think they could make the playoffs as well. I really do. I think I said at the start of the season when they were losing the games, it wasn't because they're bad; it's because they had so many injuries. And I said that at the start. There was just so many injuries in that team, and it was just painful for them. But now they've got Puka back. Obviously, 100 yards in his first game back is insanity. Like, the guy's just a joke. And Cup again, just being there for the touchdown, just being that guy, that number one. So I think they've sort of gone from potentially trading players like Cup away to keeping them and trying to mount a playoff charge second half of the season. So I think they have a chance, but whether they make it on, as you said, tough division. So we'll see. But move on to the Lions. Another massive blowout win for the Detroit Lions against Tennessee. Surely now, Kian, definite outright NFC favourites.
Nothing more certain. I said it a couple of weeks ago when you asked for our Super Bowl teams. I put the Lions in there straight away, and I'm sticking by that. They're so fun to watch. They're just so fun to watch. And Raiders, if you're watching, I know you're not. If you're watching, Ben Johnson needs to be a head coach next year, so get him on the phone. Nice one. But yeah, best team in the NFC by far.
Max?
Is it a stretch to say they're the best team in the NFL? It's between them and the Chiefs. It's between them and the Chiefs.
I think they're having a better season than the Chiefs.
The only thing that's stopping them is that loss against the Bucks. That might make the Chiefs technically better. But yeah, they are the most exciting, fun, dominant team we've seen all year. and I think they're probably going to just carry on. Like I said the other week, like Kian said as well, I've got them to be in the Super Bowl. I'm still not showing the AFC team because I did have the Ravens and we beat them. We beat the Ravens.
So did we.
So did the Raiders. So yeah, it wasn't much of a shock because they played the Titans with Mason Rudolph under center. But yeah, what a team! What a team the Lions are.
It was a bit criminal, really. Goff didn't even break 100 yards and still threw for 3 touchdowns. And Mason Rudolph,
Ridiculous.
I think Rudolph threw for 1 touchdown pass and he had like 300 yards in the game. But no, they're just very good, aren't they? I think America's team needs to rebrand from the Cowboys because it's definitely not them. Give it to the Lions because they're just so fun to watch.
I agree.
I mean, there's just the stuff they come out with, like Montgomery throwing passes and stuff like that. Like, you just don't see it from any other team. They've got the balls to go and do it because they know they're good enough to be able to pull it off. I don't think it's a stretch that they're the best team in the NFL because, as I've said many times, the Chiefs are criminally overperforming their performances. Like, they're just winning the games, they're getting it done. But I wouldn't say they're a better team than the Lions. On paper, I think the Chiefs, obviously they got D-Hop now, and they just traded for Uche from the Patriots as well, just another piece to another inevitable Super Bowl team after all this. But no, I really like the Lions, and I think another big win. It's just, just pulling up massive wins every week. They're not just squeezing by a couple of points. It's like 30-point blowouts consistently. It's ridiculous.
This is the way the sport should be played.
Yeah.
People are spending so much money on going and watching the games. NFL tickets are not cheap. If these people, they're working hard for this ticket price, paying a lot of money. That's how you should be playing. You can say wins are wins, but I know for a fact I'd be having more fun now as a Lions fan than I would as a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, 100%. You're also both giving me hope that when we do play the Ravens, we actually might have a chance if they've lost the both of you already. Considering we already beat the Browns. So.
All right, don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Got Daniel Jones Clinic in Cleveland, crazy. We'll move on to the other side of New York, which is quite hilarious to me. The Jets, another horrendous loss, this time to the Patriots. Max, what is wrong with the New York Jets?
I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows. They obviously got rid of Bobby Salah. They got Devante Adams in. Obviously, they had a big free agent. They had a big free agency, big off season, and everyone thought like there were a lot of eyes on them. It reminded me of the Bears a bit, where everyone were hyping up the Bears. There were a lot of hype on the Jets too, and they've just flopped at every turn. I don't know what's gone wrong. Is it because Aaron Rodgers is a bit of a control freak and he's trying to run too much? I don't know, but something's wrong, and I don't think they get anywhere near the playoffs this season. I don't even know if they get above 500, to be honest. Kian, thoughts?
Sorry, if you saw me on my phone, I was just pulling something up about the Jets. So this is in NFL history. Teams that have scored 20-plus points, didn't turn the ball over, and allowed fewer than 250 yards are 750 to 1. That one was the New York Jets on Sunday.
Dear me.
I'm not really sure much else needs to be said. So, I really don't know. Obviously, I was at their practice. I was lucky enough to be there. And I can't even say it looks like it was a group where they didn't like each other. It looked like such a tight-knit group. It's just baffling to me. I mean, like you say, is Rodgers a control freak? Yeah, I think he is running the show a little bit. Otherwise, I don't think we'd have seen Salah sacked as soon as we did. Devante Adams, all he's done is make himself pay higher taxes because he's on a team with the same record and he's still not producing a lot either. What the issue is, I really don't know, but that really sums their season up, what I've just said there. Is it just, are they just unlucky? Or is there something a little bit deeper going on in New York than that?
See, I saw this said on TikTok, and I agree with it. The Jets should never have traded for Aaron Rodgers, and I think I agree with it. I do not think they should have made the trade because there's been no benefit. They've given up all that to get him, and he's not performed. And
it's a bit
that
like
is
the Deshaun trade, but less money.
Yeah, but like it's just not. He's just not good enough anymore. I think that's the simple line into it. He's just not the man you need to have in a playoff team. He's not good enough. And they could have kept their draft capital, kept whoever they took away to get him, and drafted someone else, a young quarterback who's going to give you your franchise guy for years to come, rather than spend all his money on Aaron Rodgers and then
or
you're going
another
to end
Zach
up in the
Wilson.
same situation. But they're in the same situation with Rodgers as they were with Wilson. It's a
I
similar
think
sort of
I think they had more wins with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they
I
did.
can't help but think they looked at what happened with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay and they thought, right, this is how we're going to replicate it. But it's just been an absolute car crash. Rodgers missing that one season, I think, has killed him completely. So, yeah, I agree with you. If they never made that trade, I think they'd be in a better position today.
Again, we'll never know, but I can't. They couldn't be any worse than if they never made the trade than what they are with making the trade. So, for me, I would never have done it if I was the New York Jets, and I wouldn't be surprised if the fans are really regretting it now, a couple of years on. But we'll move on to the Washington Commanders beating the Bears with a Hail Mary last-second play. Nothing more can be said. But what I will say is, I forgot his name, but that cornerback for the Bears must have had the most
Tyreek
horrendous
Stevenson.
film.
Tyreek Stevenson, yeah.
Must have had the most horrendous film session in his career after that game, because that is the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen. To be the one who then tips the ball for the touchdown.
It got off his hand, didn't it?
Yeah, he was the one who tipped it for the touchdown. I think the Commanders went 6-2.
No one saw
I don't think
that.
anyone expected it. No one expected it. Daniels, I think, for me, I mean, my question for this one was, is Jane Daniels now the leader for Rookie of the Year? And he is. By a country mile, no one's even close. The guy is a joke. He's making this Commanders...
I said Roma Doomsday, but just ignore me.
He looks good in that game.
Yeah. I just think Jad Daniels has to be miles ahead. He's probably in the MVP conversation, albeit not at the top of it, but he's in there, in my opinion. This Commanders team, in my opinion, it's still not very good. I really just don't think the Commanders team is very good, and they're 6-2. And
they did still perform with Marcus Mariota at quarterback for most of the game, albeit it was against the Panthers, but they still performed. I don't think they're as bad as this team without Daniels, but without Daniels, they would not be anywhere near 6-2. So,
I mean, Kim, they could win the NFC East. I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
I mean, it's been a very good season for them. And there was when there's that much expectation on a quarterback to go there and perform straight away. I think he's handled it really well. Kind of just how I don't think the Hail Mary pass was actually a very good throw. He had a great arm on it, but it was landing short. So, as much as I do like Jaden Daniels, I'm not going to give him any credit for that. I'm going to credit Tyreek Stevenson for being an absolute twat. I'm giving it all this. I mean, I don't know if it's the same in America, but the thing you taught from young over here is play to the whistle. How he missed him. If he waits 7 more seconds, he can do all that with a win. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I think he is definitely the leader for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, sorry. And they look like a much better team with him, not without him. They don't look as good without him, obviously. And I'm really upset because we were in talks all over the draft season. A lot of people were saying he was going to fall to the Raiders. He was never going to fall to the Raiders, but now it's really upsetting me that we have to watch Gardner Minshew instead of Jaden Daniels.
Can I just say it's a good job that Tyreek Stevenson wasn't at that Bears camp that we attended. If you just called him a twat.
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is a twat. I'm just saying he acted like a twat.
Put it this way, I would have loved to have been sat in the room when they reviewed the footage from that Hail Mary with him, just to see what was said.
I'd have found it sick, me.
Like when it was someone's birthday at school and you all used to rush them. I can't help but think it's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Also, he said about Daniels, Kieran. I mean, Joe Scowen's son said on bloody that documentary for us to draft Daniels.
Yep, I've seen that. Yeah.
So it's great to know that your GM's son's better at your job than the actual GM. I think he said Drake May and Jane Daniels just trade up and do it, and he ignored him.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm unhappy with Malik Neighbours, but because I'm really not. I love the guy, but
Yeah,
I would
because
love
what
to
did he
have
say? He said you only get this job once.
Yeah, he's not
Make
wrong.
a. I bet you wish you fucking did it now. As much as you like Malik Neighbours, you'd
I know
rather have.
it's a difficult one because I do love Neighbours, but at the same time, if we had that's your guy for the next 10, 15 years, like done. You haven't got to worry about it, and there's going to be plenty of receivers who come and go who are going to be that kind of guy. So it is a difficult one, but moving on. So that's our recap done for the week of the results. Anyway, obviously some
Thank
other
God.
results, but no one really cares. Move on to the news that has come out. Most of this actually has come out in the last sort of few hours before we start recording on this Tuesday. Firstly, Stefon Diggs' ACL injury, season over in Houston. So now they're without Collins on IR and now Diggs out for the season. My question is, Max, are the Texans in a bit of trouble?
They didn't seem to struggle too much when he went off the field. I was watching a bit of the Texans game, obviously, and I don't know. Anyone know when Nico Collins is back? I can't remember how significant his injury was.
He's still on IR.
He's still on IR. Thank you, Kian. Anyway, I mean, the main guys like Tank Dell now, Dalton Schultz, I guess, Xavier Hutchinson. They've not got many weapons. Like they had one of the best receiving cores in the NFL, and it's just kind of gone. It's fallen apart. But I still think they're a solid team, and they should be able to just keep picking up wins like they have been. You got an answer, Kian?
Yeah, it's not too bad for Nico Collins, actually. He's going to miss this Sunday, definitely. And then he's expected to be back the Sunday after. So
that's not too bad.
That's really not too bad. I mean, they're not... Okay, it's not the easy... Well, it's not the hardest game, really, is it? They've got this week. But, yeah, like you said, I think they are losses, but they didn't look bad when he left the field. I think Tank Dell is a very, very worthy replacement. He's an unbelievable player. I really like him, and I couldn't tell you why. And I think the run game's really strong as well. Mixon's having a really good season. So,
incredible.
If you can rely on the run game to get you through Thursday night against the Jets, you then get Nico Collins back. Stefon Diggs is a big loss, but as has been made very public, he's a bit of a diva as well. So how long before that was going to go wrong with the Texans? They now don't really need to worry about that. So they can just design plays to win the game, not to please Stefon Diggs. So yes, it is a loss, but they're not going to be in as big trouble as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad for Diggs more than anything because he's a free agent at the end of the season. So now, if he is going to earn a contract anywhere, it has to have been based off his performance at the start of the season, which hasn't been as good as he probably wanted it to be. So I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with him come the off season, whether he stays with Houston or whether he moves on somewhere else. Because I'm sure someone will take him. Obviously, he's a very talented guy, and as much as you said he is a bit of a diva, someone will take him. People need receivers,
we'll take him.
But we probably all would in here, regardless of his sort of thing. Considering how much Kian's begging for Shadur Sanders, so I don't think you really care about character there. But yeah, no, I just think it's a bad loss. But as you said, with Tank Dell, Collins coming back, Collins was unreal before his injury, leading the NFL by country mile receiving yards. I think he's still in the top 5. He's not played for like 10 games.
He's an incredible player.
He's great. So I think they should be fine. They'll obviously make the playoffs. I don't see a world where they don't. And can they go all the way potentially? I think there's better teams in the AFC, but
when we predicted it, I had them in the Super Bowl. I'm still going to stick by it. I think.
Really,
I'm not sticking with mine. By the way, just
still going to stick with
clarify.
What the Vikings?
I'm not. Yeah.
No, the power of Darnold friendship.
Yeah, of course. It'll carry them all the way. Lions will bottle it in the NFC Championship. Don't worry about it. No. We'll move on to another trade. Deontay Johnson to the Ravens for, I believe it was a 5th round pick, something like that. Ended up costing them, so basically nothing. I saw they might get a 6th rounder in return from the Panthers as well. So it's an interesting one, but I mean, Ravens needed a receiver, I guess, and they've got one now. So now it's Johnson, Zay, and I'll say Ravens, but
Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar.
They've got their guys. I mean, Max it's just to add a bit of extra flair for the Ravens to make sure they get into that playoff berth, I suppose.
What happened is they failed so badly against the incredible Jim Schwartz-led Browns defense that they had to go get some new weapons to carry on through the rest of the season when we played them at their place because they knew that they couldn't beat us again.
Fair enough.
That's all I've got to say.
I mean, he's good to be added on. I don't really see the logic from his side because, okay, he did have Bryce Young throwing the ball, but he was their wide receiver number one. If you look at his stats this year, there's been multiple games where he's been targeted over 10 times. When they played us, he had 14 targets. So whether he's just happy to, be that sort of guy that they lean on when they really need him, then obviously that's his decision. But yeah, he's a good player. It's a good addition to that receiving core. But whether it's like a major thing like DeAndre Hopkins was, I don't think it is. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, look, he's a good player, but he was the best player on a bad Panthers team. It's like when you're in year 6 in primary school, then you go to year 7. You were like top of the league in year 6, and then you go to year 7. It's a big school. It's a bit like that. He's gonna have to settle in a bit because them Panthers are shit. So over to you, LL Cool James, as we called you last night.
I'm definitely editing that over this.
Yeah, that was I mean, if you saw our Twitter, you'll see what Kid's talking about. But let's just say the Giants game wasn't very interesting, so I tried to make some humor out of it. And I thought I did a pretty good job. I mean, Max, if you edit it in across
He's already here now. It's already here.
I think it was a pretty good effort, all things considered. In about 5 seconds, I managed to do that.
It was weird how you just had it ready.
He was sat like that anyway.
But we'll move on from the Ravens to a bit of an interesting quarterback situation developing in Indianapolis. The Anthony Richardson is being benched for Joe Flacco again. Is this the Colts losing patience, Max, with Anthony Richardson and maybe thinking he's not the future of that franchise?
Me and Kian were sort of having this conversation the other day when we were watching parts of the Colts game and it came on in Red Zone. And we were both saying, like, just watching Anthony Richardson, why not put Flacco in? Obviously, he's older and he's not got the upside. He doesn't need to develop. But he's just a lot steadier. He's a lot more solid. I think it's a smart move from the Colts because Richardson, although I do love watching him, he can be reckless. And did he get injured at some point in that game, or like he did the tap on the helmet? I don't know if
no, I think he just tapped out. He just didn't want to play.
He just didn't want to play. Well, in that case, get him straight out. I trade him. That was my quarterback. Get him out. But no, I think putting Joe Flacco in a smart decision. They might win some games because of it. And we all know I love Joe Flacco.
Kid?
Yeah, I mean, you asked if they're losing patience. I'm losing patience with Anthony Richardson, and I don't even support them. He's very frustrating to watch. I mean, some stuff he does is unbelievable. He's got an unreal arm on him. But to have the face of your franchise, because let's face it, that's what your quarterback one is, tapping out because he's a bit tired. He actually came out and said it was because he was tired. That, for me, just shows that his heart's not in it. Flacco is, he's a seasoned vet. He knows what he's doing. He's going to come in. He's going to steady the ship. So I think it's a smart. Do you know what? No, I don't think it is a smart decision. I don't really see the upside. They're not going to, if they get into the playoffs, they're just going to get absolutely battered by a better team. So I don't really see the point. Well, you may as well try and develop Richardson. Although, has that ship sailed with him tapping out? I think a lot of it relies on the fact that he did tap out because he was tired and then doubled down on that in his press conference. But yeah, I think they're losing patience, and I am as well. So yeah, it's a 50-50 decision. I really can't make up my mind on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fuming if I was a Colts fan at seeing your number one guy tapping out because he's a bit tired. Like, you can't do that. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how tired you are. You can't just tap out the game for no reason. Like, it's bad. And when you're not performing well as well to back up that, it's even worse. So I think I'd definitely be losing patience if I was a Colts fan with him because he's just not been very good. I think that's just the nail. He's just not been great. And just to add to any more sadness, I've just seen Tyron Tracy's in concussion protocol, which is even worse.
Oh, he's back. Tyron Tracy's in concussion protocol. Oh, the news has killed James and his internet.
Tyron Tracy in concussion protocol, which means we really are going to lose by a considerable margin on Sunday, as if we weren't already. Our only good player in the last 5 games is now injured. So that's great fun to hear. But we'll move on to our favourite part of the podcast for some people, unless you're named Caden, the Week 9 predictions. So last week, as Max has already mentioned, of course he has, Max and Kian again, joint winners on 11. I, again, one behind for a dodgy, edgy prediction on 10, and Caden ended up on 8. And I'm not
No
quite
one
sure
does
how
it
he
like me
managed.
and Kian. No one does it like me and Kian. We're just the best.
I don't lose.
Not sure how Caden managed to finish on 8, but he did. I don't know what he's trying to do, considering he is nearly last and he has to do his bye week still.
He keeps making it worse for himself. I don't understand it. He's digging a hole.
My plan is basically just finish 3rd, so I don't do whatever forfeit we come up with.
I don't think you need to worry about it, mate.
I plan to win the entire thing, and I will. Mark my words.
So is this? Are we calling this Caden's bye week for the predictions?
I believe
No,
so.
he sent me them. He sent me them. I'll edit them.
So you have got them. Okay. So yeah,
do you want
Caden
to see them instead?
I can say them. I'll check my emails.
We'll just add them on at the end
so that we can all have a laugh.
Yeah, come on. If there's any funny ones, I'll say it.
Okay, but so at the minute, I mean, it'll be me taking my bye on, I believe it's week 11, and Caden will take it on week 12 when our teams we support take their corresponding bye week. But we'll start off with the Thursday night football, the New York Jets against the Houston Texans. I feel like this is going to be fairly straightforward. Max, you can start us off.
You'd think the Jets would want to take advantage of the Texans not having star players, but it's just not going to happen. Texans for me, I think it's pretty straightforward. The Jets, I don't see where they get another win from. They look really unencouraging. Is that a word? Disencouraging? Shit, basically. They look shit. So Jimmy H
I
down.
was going to say, just not good.
Yeah, terrible. Texans for me.
Good.
I'm really not sure I need to say much. We've already spoken about both teams in quite detailed fashion on this episode. So I'm just going to go straight to the point. Texans for me.
Yeah, I'm going to back it for a sweep, unless Caden's gone with the most outrageous edgy prediction and said the Jets.
Nah, he's got Texans as well.
Okay. I think it wouldn't be like, it'd be a weird one. I feel like for some reason I can see the Jets winning this game. I don't know why. I just feel like there's something, like there's always one upset, and I feel like if it's going to be anywhere, it's probably there, but I'm not risking it. I'm going to back the Texans. They should win this game quite easily, considering the Steelers dropped 37 points on their head the week before last, and they lost again to the Patriots this week. I think they'll struggle a bit. Next up, I don't want to talk about it. It's the Giants versus the Commanders. The Commanders are going to win by about 30 points. Jane Daniels is throwing for 400 yards and about 7 touchdowns. And Daniel Jones will probably not even break 100 yards. Although the last time we played on week, whatever it was, 2 or 3, we did actually shut them out completely touchdown-wise. Somehow. I don't know how. They didn't score a touchdown, but they didn't. They just won with 7 field goals instead. But we seem to have a habit of being awful defensively until we hit the red zone, and then we actually start defending quite well. But no, I think Commanders should. If they don't win this, something's gone horribly wrong, because I don't see when we win a game, especially with no Tracy and with Daniel Jones still at quarterback, as we have been confirmed. We're not winning this game. Kian, I'm assuming you're going to agree with me.
Sorry, you picked me while I was yawning. Yeah, I do agree with you. A little part of me nearly went Giants because, the aforementioned third game at the start of this season, but this is a Commanders team that now have had longer together. Jaden Daniels has already matured, and we're only 8-9 weeks in. and he already looks 10 times the player he was in the first 2 weeks. So for me, I'm going to have to go Commanders. I don't really see much happening for the Giants now. Look forward to getting Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. That's probably their only hope. That's it for me. Commanders.
Max?
Commanders. Don't worry about
I'm
it,
assuming. Did Caden go outrageous, or has he been sensible this week?
He's gone Washington.
Okay, because he did back us against. I can't remember who he backed us against, but it was the worst
Eagles.
prediction
It
ever.
was.
Yeah,
the
with the
Eagles.
Eagles. That was silly.
I don't know what he was
Has he
doing
actually
there.
got any?
That's-
I'm going to see if he's actually got any mental ones.
yeah. Has he got any edgy predictions this week?
I've
So
got
we
one.
look forward to.
I think he's gone
I
relatively
don't
straightforward.
I've got a bit
He
of an
knows
edgy
about
one.
50 picks behind everyone, and he needs to make up the ground somewhere.
We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, but I think he's gone slightly smart for once.
Next up, the Tennessee Titans against the New England Patriots. Probably the worst game of the week, let's be honest. Two terrible teams, to put it lightly. Kian, you can start us off.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. They won last week. Drake May doesn't look bad at all. And the Titans are really shit. That's the only proper way I can describe this Tennessee Titans team, which is a shame, really, because Tennessee looks like a really lovely place. But the actual fucking team is shit. They really let down the city. So I'm going to go with the Patriots, and I don't think it's going to be very close, and it's going to be the worst game of the weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Tennessee being quite a nice place, because you said about letting them down. I'm very much glad I end up supporting the collegiate team in Tennessee and not the NFL team. It's very nice times being a Volunteers fan, but it's definitely not being a Titans fan. I'm going to, again, I feel it's going to be a common theme. We're probably going to agree on most of these, but I'm going to go with the Patriots. Look, they're looking better. I think, obviously, they're that tough loss in London, but apart from that, since Drake May's come into the fold, they've just been better. Brissett didn't look awful after May came out of the game in their win. You know, he did the job he needed to do, but yeah, I don't know if he's going to play or not. We don't know how serious it was. I think it could have just been a precautionary one, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Patriots still, even with Brissett. I still think they win the game, to be honest, because the Titans are just bad. And now no D-Hop, it's even worse. So yeah, Max?
I'm going with Tennessee. I'm not going to lie. I'm going with Tennessee. I've noticed the theme watching them. They've played some good teams recently, and they start quite well. They managed to hang in there with them. And I think, obviously, even we're hanging in there with Detroit, who are the best team in the NFL, in my books, for a little bit. And then, obviously, second half, they got clattered. But I think if they can start strong against the Patriots, who are not a great team, and they can just hold out, they could sneak a win. Mason Rudolph didn't play terribly. Like we said, he had 300 passing yards or something. He can sling it. I just think they'll win one. I think I've got Tennessee.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's nice to have some, I suppose, contrasting opinions, and we're all just picking sweeps every week, and then no one can catch up with anyone. So, nice to have a bit of variety. Next up, interesting one this for me. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Dallas Cowboys. I believe it's in Atlanta as well. Max, what do you think?
I've gone Atlanta because I don't think Micah Parsons is back yet, and some of the other defensive players for Dallas, which is a letdown for them. And the Falcons are on a decent run of form. They got another big win against Tampa Bay. They've beat them twice now, and Tampa Bay are a solid team. I think I just really like the Falcons. Like I said on the episode a few weeks ago, they were nearly my team, so they're a bit of a second team. So I keep up to date with them, and I'm backing them against Dallas because something's wrong in Dallas. It's a bit like the Jets, but not quite as bad.
Yep.
On my notes, I've got written 50-50. If this was in, but obviously I'll predict someone. Let me speak. Kirktober's done.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Which makes me feel a little bit like I want to pick Dallas, but then Jerry Jones does exist. I know he has no bearings in what's going on in the regular season right up until the draft, but having that man around your franchise is not a winning formula. I can't believe I'm blaming an 80-odd-year-old bloke, by the way.
You do it every week as well.
for the Dallas Cowboys' misfortunes. But I think he has got a part to play, and for that, I'm going to put Atlanta. I'm just going to write him down now because fuck Jerry Jones.
See, interestingly, I thought I've also gone Atlanta, and I thought I might be on my own for once, but I for the same reasons what you lot said. The Cowboys are bad, and I'm really happy about it.
And
Can't
Jerry
lie,
Jones.
it absolutely makes my day to see the Dallas Cowboys lose football matches, and I really hope it continues for the foreseeable future. But as I said, the Falcons have been good. Kirktober is over, so we might have to consider that one in future predictions for the Falcons.
Hey, it's Kirk Vember now.
Doesn't fucking work.
But I'm going to go with the Falcons. Another sweep for us, and I really hope I'm right because fuck Dallas. Moving on, Kian, considering Caden isn't here, you can start us off. The Bengals versus the Raiders, another fourth down focused derby. What are we saying?
Welcome to 8 of November, everybody. No. I don't really think
He's not even played. He's injured.
No, he might be back, but I hope not because he's really shit. We've got no chance. We're a really, really, really bad football team, and I hope we lose. If I'm being honest, I've started rooting for the teams against us, and I really don't mind the Bengals either. They're going to absolutely batter us. I mean, I don't even think our DBs are that bad. Jack Jones is a bit of a bitch, but he's a decent player. And the lad on the other side, this is really professional because I can't remember his name. He's all right as well. But apart from that, we lack a lot of anything, really. I mean, like I said, I don't think the defense is awful. But against a good offense, they do get exploited, as seen on Sunday. And the offense is just tragic. You know, if we've still got an offensive coordinator who is not a very good one, our ball security is terrible. It's the Bengals, and it's the Bengals by about 50. And long may it continue.
I've got the Bengals too. I'll also point out that Caden's obviously also taken the Bengals. I hate the Bengals and I hate Caden, but unfortunately the Raiders are just terrible, and that Bengals defense is. I mean, it annoys me how good Jamar Chase and T Higgins are together. So I'm gonna have to take the Bengals. Sorry, Kian.
T Higgins is a future Raider though, so it's fine.
Do you reckon?
We've got a lot of cap space, mate. We'll be sound next season.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it pretty straightforward. I've picked the Bengals. I don't think much needs to be said about it. The Raiders are just bad, similar boat as most of these teams at the bottom of the NFL. It's just not fun. And yeah, I'm going to completely sweep it. For that alone, I really hope you lose and get absolutely blown out just for that comment alone. I sort of see where you're coming from because I was sort of just hoping the Steelers would win because you're sort of in that limbo period now with teams like us. It's just like you're almost self-punishing if you do win the game because you're not going to make the playoffs, but you're just making your draft pick worse.
We're going 11-6.
Good, Max. It also
we're going 11-6.
Right, okay. We'll see you after. Well, actually, we'll move straight on because next up is the Browns versus the Chargers. Go on then, Max. You can start us off.
Cleveland. We're going 11-6 with this man behind me. If you listen to the Spotify version of this, I'm sorry, it's a picture of Jameis Winston.
He's in your room?
Yeah, he's in my room, mate. It's not a virtual backdrop. No, with Jameis Winston at QB1, we are unstoppable and we are winning the Super Bowl, actually, I've decided. So, yeah. The Chargers, I don't think the Chargers are very effective. I don't think they utilize Justin Herbert as much as they can. Obviously, they don't have that many weapons. So if we just stop their run game, which we're not that bad at, then we've won. We'll just keep throwing dimes to Cedric Tillman, the GOAT.
I'm going to go next. Chargers. You have just said about them not utilising Herbert, and Lad McConkey just had like a career game last week. So I think that might be a bit of a flawed logic.
I watched the Chargers.
I'm going with the Chargers. I think it'll be comfortable, and Max will be brought straight back down to earth, and you will not see him in the Browns top next week because they're going to lose this game. I don't think I need to say more than that. I'm picking the Chargers. Kian?
On my notes app, I've written Browns. However,
Cleveland.
listening to your reasonings compared to Max's reasonings, I think it might have to be changed. I mean,
Sorry, have you not seen what we just did to probably one of the best teams in the AFC?
well, this is what I mean. This is why I want to. But then you say they're one of the best teams in the NFC. They're sat sixth in the standings below the Broncos.
That's the Broncos is a freak accident. That's
So I'd let you know.
I don't know how that's happened.
The
But
Chargers are seventh, and they had a bye week as well. So, I mean, I'm still on the fence because Jameis Winston did do really well, but
330 yards.
Yeah, but at what point does he fall into the famous Jameis situation where he throws 17 touchdowns and 17 interceptions in the same fucking game?
I'd take the 17 touchdowns because who's outscoring that?
They'd score 18. Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers. I don't see the Browns being a very good team. I think it's a bit of a freak result, and we had a freak result against the Ravens and then lost to the Panthers the week after. And the Chargers are a lot better than the Panthers. So, yeah, they're going to be brought back down to earth. Jameis Winston can sing a different, more depressing Eminem song this week. And, yeah, Chargers for me.
Well, you three have all gone Chargers, and I'm just going to go further ahead in the predictions race when Cleveland Browns win. I'll remind you who's got the belt. It's me.
Yeah, I've got a feeling with your prediction so far, that's not going to be with you for very long. I said a freak accident, I think, and they'll be back down to earth after that loss. Next up, as you just said, it's the sixth and fifth teams in the AFC. It's the Baltimore Ravens against the Denver Broncos, and maybe not a surefire win as we maybe would have thought after that result against Cleveland. But Max, what do you think? As your team
I've still got Ravens. I've still got Ravens. We are too good, which doesn't take anything away from Baltimore. That's what it is. We're just too good. No, I genuinely have no idea how the Broncos are like. What are they? 5-2?
5-3.
5-3. I have no idea how they've put 5 wins on the board. Every time I watch them, I'm just really confused. I only like watching them if they're wearing them throwback jerseys because they're just really nice to look at. They're probably the best in the NFL. Apart from that, yeah, I think the Ravens will want to bounce back from losing a divisional game. And Kian looks very confused. I want to see what he has to say now.
I'm not confused. I'm
picking Baltimore. I'm picking Baltimore.
The question was, how are they 5-2 or 5-3, whatever they are? You know, when you actually look at the teams they beat, there's one decent team in there.
Exactly.
They beat the Buccaneers, which is a good win.
That's a good win. They then beat
the Jets without scoring a touchdown. They then beat us, who are shit. They lost to the Chargers, who are a good team. They then went on to beat the Spencer Rattler Saints and the Carolina Panthers. This Broncos team is not a good team. They just had a really, really favourable start.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, Ravens. Last time they lost a game, they went on a 5-game winning streak, beating teams like the Bills and the Bengals in that streak as well. So
sorry, everyone, we started that.
For me, I'm going to have to go Ravens. The Broncos are slowly going to get humbled. They must have a harder schedule towards the end of the year because that is so fucking easy at the start of the year. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ravens as well. I refuse to believe a Bo Nix team can end up at over 500, let alone the playoffs. But because they're actually on that kind of form, if you look at the predictions, if they keep the form up, they're actually projected to get a playoff space, which is ridiculous. But they won't do it because they've actually got to play difficult teams now.
Well, the only 3 losses they've got are against the Seahawks, who aren't great, and then the Steelers and the Chargers, who are both having good seasons. So when they play harder teams, they're going to be a bit exposed, I think.
We beat the Seahawks, so if that says anything about it. And we put 29 points on the Seahawks, so if that says anything about that loss, then yeah, I'm going with the Ravens.
We beat the Ravens. I don't know if I've mentioned it.
Moving on.
Just let me have it. Come on.
Nah, no chance. Next up, the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins. Tua now back fully in the frame for the Dolphins, and they still don't look particularly great. I'll start us off. I'm going to go with the Bills. I don't really see a world where they don't lose this. Josh Allen, for me, is still that front runner for MVP, regardless of what's going on elsewhere with Mahomes or someone like that, who still shouldn't even be in the conversation, by the way, let alone near the top of it. Shouldn't even be in the argument. Allen's been unreal. Threw his first pick of the season, but it took 8 weeks to happen. Compared to,
That's ridiculous.
For someone who's had an interception problem for most of his career, the fact he's only thrown one this season is just showing he's just getting better every week. And the Dolphins were better with Tua, but not good enough to be winning games like this. And I think if it wasn't already confirmed by the end of this week, their season will be confirmed to be over. Kian, what do you think?
Where is the game?
Buffalo.
Oh, there's not many bees there, bless him. If it was in Miami, I'd probably have said that he might be a little bit distracted by the bees. No, I think that you were spot on with everything you've just said in regards to this game. There's not really much to add. The only thing I do have to add, actually, isn't even about bees. So they came out and said the other day. No, stop laughing. It's a serious topic. They said about Tua the other day that not one of the doctors he spoke to recommended retirement. I refuse to believe that's factual. How can so many people watch him seize up like that on the field? Not one of them go, do you know what, mate? You should probably have a little think about this.
Or at least put one of them Guardian hats on.
Well, he's got a special helmet, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just got the Guardian cap.
Not familiar. I don't know him that well.
Fuck's sake. Right, yeah,
really,
Bills for me.
What's really funny is when I edited this last week when I went on it, I put a thing at the bottom saying, when I leave, all the professionalism leaves too, apparently, and I just said that.
Yeah, Max, can you just give us a quick answer before you say something like that again?
No, I'm not. I think it'll be a close divisional matchup, but the Bills will win. There you go, James. You happy?
Thank you very much. Moving on to, I think we may have spoken too soon with the Titans and the Patriots being the worst game of the week, because we have the Panthers against the Saints. The Saints, who just hooked Spencer Rattler for, I don't even know what his name was, their third string.
Jake Haener.
Haener, that's it.
Jake
to come
Haener.
in for Rattler, because Rattler, not injured, was just bad.
He's just bad.
Yeah, Max, do you want to start us off for this terrible matchup?
I don't know. Right, I can't make my mind up because I did some research earlier. Derek Carr is supposed to be practicing on Wednesday. If Derek Carr is back, I think the Saints definitely win that game. If he's not, then the Panthers could genuinely win. But I'm gonna assume Derek Carr's back and pick New Orleans. I think. I'm not sure still.
Kian?
I'm going to flip what Max has just said. He's questionable. I'm going to assume he's out. Panthers.
Well, this all relies on Derek Carr.
I'm going to do flip on both of you, and I don't care if he's out or not. The Saints are still winning this game. Like, they may have bad quarterbacks, but at least they've got the players like Kamara to go make a play. The Panthers have literally no one. Now they traded away Johnson as well. There's no one there to make a play. It's certainly not going to be Bryce Young. Yeah, Legette's not going to do anything against the Saints, let's be honest.
Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, he's had a good season.
He's been all right, but I think there's just better players in that Saints team overall. And it's two bad quarterbacks at the end of the day, so you've got to look to the supporting cast, and the supporting cast of the Saints is much better than the supporting cast of the Panthers. So I think irrespective of who's in at quarterback, I'm going with the Saints. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Chicago Bears, Kian's new team for the rest of the season. So we can start this one off as a new Bears supporter.
I think they were unlucky the other night. That final touchdown is just an absolute freak thing that happens not very often. For the quarterback to underthrow the end zone and it still be a touchdown on the Hail Mary is just unlucky. Look, that would have been a huge win for them as well. Beating that Washington team, and I do still think they're a good side. The defense is fine, apart from Tyreek Stevenson. Less said about him, the better. And the offense looks to be doing better. Max touched on it again. Roma Dunze had a good game. That's our wide receiver 3. So I do think the Bears have got it in to win games. This is a bit of a do or die for their season for me. So I'm going to go Bears. The Cardinals are a weird team. Bear down.
Max?
I forgot what I was going to say because Keane's just said bear down again. Oh no, that's it. He's come back to me. I was going to say that I don't think the Bears were that unlucky because watching that game, they didn't look very good for a lot of it. Caleb Williams had a bit of a stinker by the looks of it. However, I'm going to back Chicago because, like Keane said, the Cardinals are a bit of a weird team. I don't like to back them because they're just a bit all over the place. I think it looks like Maserati Marv might be a bit of a diva, a bit of a Stefon Diggs. The only difference being Stefon Diggs has been in the league for about 10 years, so he can get away with it a bit more. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bears, and I'm not going to do what Keane just did at the end of his that.
The fact it's blurred as well. I'm
Probably
going
back.
to... Yeah, probably for the best. I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with the Bears. I just think the Cardinals are such a weird team. Like, they could turn up one week and be unbelievable. They can come back next week and they can be absolutely terrible. And there's just no in between with them. I think it'll be a close game like it was with Washington, but I think there's less quality in that Cardinals team than there is with the Bears. There's just quality all around that team now. As long as Tyreek Stevenson doesn't see the ball on a Hail Mary play, then they should be fine.
Just a quick one on the Bears, because I forgot to touch on it. If they didn't try and run it with the fucking O-lineman, they probably won that game.
I think they try to be fun.
But they're not the Lions.
No, true. They're trying to be something they're definitely not.
Exactly.
Different animal.
We'll move on. Oh, wait, no.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll move on. Eagles versus the Jaguars in Philadelphia. See, I'll start this one off. There is a really, I don't know why, but there's a part of me that's really tempted to say the Jags here. Because it seems like a game the Eagles would find a way to mess up, and the Jags have looked quite good, all things considered, in their last couple of games. I can't remember what the result was this week. Does anyone know?
No, it was 30-27, so there was only 3 points in it.
3 points in it. See, you know what? I'm already miles ahead of Caden, and I need to catch up. I'm going with the Jags to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. I've just got a feeling, and I'll be fuming with myself if I don't take it. But if it's wrong, I don't really care because I knew it's going to be the Eagles anyway. But I'm going to go with the Jags just for an upset. Just throw something out there. Why not? Mac, you've done a couple of out there predictions. I'm going to have this one as mine.
I've got a few more. Maybe I've got a few
I'm going
more.
with the Jags to beat the Eagles. Max, go on. You can go next.
I was in the same boat as you with this one. I also did think about the Jags, but I went with the Eagles in the end just because they're on a good run of form. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, all the supporting cast is there. Jalen Hurts is playing like a running back who can also occasionally throw it. He's scoring rushing touchdowns for fun. And the Jags, although they've started developing a bit into the season, I still don't think they're quite there to beat a team as good as Philadelphia.
Kim?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Max. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are a decent team. Like you said, Jalen Hurts 3 touchdowns with his legs, which is just fucking absurd. But the Jags, they are looking better. Last couple of games, like you said, have been good. I think bringing in Tank Bigsby over Travis Etienne was a very smart decision. I know injury forced it, but he's much better and his ball security is much better. But yeah, I just don't think they're quite at that level yet to be, competing with the Eagles. But I'd love them to win because it would move us up the tankathon a little bit. So, Duval.
I think Christian Kirk is also injured as well, so that's another weapon that Trevor Lawrence has to go without.
And he needs them all, bless him.
He does.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas is just that guy. I really do like him.
I like him.
Receivers, they're all just, aren't they? always, if you're ever in doubt and you need a receiver, just draft an LSU receiver.
Big up
That's
Jarvis
how it goes.
Landry. Big up Jarvis Landry. I miss him.
Wouldn't be on my list, but
He's my goat, man. Don't make me put the Landry jersey on.
But yeah, I hope that I'm right and the Eagles do lose, because how funny would that be? Who likes the Eagles? Moving on.
no.
Exactly. Seahawks versus the Rams. Kian, you can start us off.
Who did I pick? Bear with me, I can't remember who I picked. Sorry, Spotify listeners. Rams. I've gone with the Rams because they looked much better with Puka and Cut back. Do they win that game without the face mask? Who knows? It's, you just don't know, do you? But the fact he managed to get that pressure on the quarterback tells me that they're doing something right. So yeah, Rams for me, they look a revitalized side with the two main receivers back.
Max?
I've gone Rams as well. I know I said earlier that they're probably not going to make the playoffs, but I think the Seahawks are they're another weird team. Why is that just a weird division? You got the Cardinals, you got the Seahawks. The Rams are having a weird year. Everyone's just fucking weird. But yeah, I've gone with the Rams. I think they've got the edge, especially now they've got Nakua and Cut back. I think that'll help them out in that game. It's a game of two good receiving calls, actually, when you think about it. DK, JSN on the other side, Tyler Lockett. It should be a decent game, but I've got the Rams.
Yeah, I'm just going to wrap it off with the Rams 100%. I've said the whole season, I said it earlier, I never thought the Rams were as bad as they looked and how their record showed. It was just the injuries that were holding them back, and now they've got their fully fit squad back. We saw how good they can be against the Vikings. So I'm going to go with the Rams, just add another sweep through for us. Moving on to the last three games of the week, some big games in here. We have the Packers versus the Lions, probably potential game of the week here. Max, what do you think?
Do you remember when I said I had a few more rogue shouts? And I've been saying that the Lions are the best team in the NFL all episode. I've gone with the Packers. Okay. One big reason, it's at Lambeau. That helps. Two, the Packers actually also look ridiculous. Like, there's a genuine Super Bowl potential team there. That defense is probably the best in the NFL. I think it could have been the Lions, but Hutchinson's gone. That's going to slow them down a bit. And I think the Packers are going to steal one, like a field goal win, maybe even less than a field goal. But I think they're going to win.
See, I don't know if you've forgotten about Jordan Love going down injured again.
It's questionable. I just checked.
Malik Willis, mate. It's all about Malik Willis.
Are you still Packers without Jordan Love?
Yeah, fuck it. Too late now. Lambeau. I'm telling you, Lambeau. There's something special about Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm going to go next. I've gone with the Lions. I just don't see where they lose games. I'd be intrigued to see.
One that they could lose.
They asked Dan Campbell in his press conference about trade. He looked quite excited and said yes. So I'm intrigued to see who that is, because the Crosby rumors have been circulating. Don't think it'll be him, but it's got to be someone pretty decent for him to seem so excited in a press conference about a potential trade. So it'll be intriguing to see who they bring in.
When is the deadline? Because I thought it was this week. The trade deadline.
I think it's next week.
I thought it was week 8.
I'm not sure, but it's soon, put it that way.
It's very soon.
It might be. It's either this week or next week. It's very soon. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions. Kian?
Lambeau this, Lambeau that. The only game they've lost in the US this year was at fucking Lambeau against a team from their own division in the Vikings. It's the Lions. The Lions going to win, and I refuse to back against the Lions for the rest of the season. They're so good. They're so good to watch. Not trick or treat. This is a fucking treat, this game. It's the Lions to me. They're unbelievable. Yeah, Lions.
Right, we'll move on to the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Indianapolis Colts. I'll start us off, obviously, as an avid Vikings believer. They need to win this to sort of put their season back on track. 2 losses in a row is never ideal, albeit to 2 very solid teams. The Rams are always good with their receivers back, and losing to the Lions is nothing to be ashamed of. But they'll win this game. The Colts are all over the place in many different ways. And as much as Mac is probably 100% going to go with the Colts based on his edgy predictions and Joe Flacco love, I'm picking the Vikings to sort of set themselves back on the way they need to be to win the Super Bowl. Max?
No, I've gone Vikings. I've played this one safe. I can't go rogue on them all. I think the Vikings are just they look better. The Colts are an enjoyable team to watch. They score some really good touchdowns, whether it's Flacco or Richardson throwing an occasional bomb. And I enjoy watching them weirdly, but I just think the Vikings they're going to want to win now. They're on a run, and then they've lost form. They're going to want it back, and I think this is definitely the game to do it in.
Kian?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to clean sweep Vikings. The Colts really are in a bit of a mess, aren't they? I know obviously JT's back, but it might be a little bit too late. Flacco's fine, but this Vikings team are a good team. But if they do lose this, I think what we all think of Sam Darnold might be coming back. Because if they lose this, they're going to be slow. They'll move to 6-3. And that team that was once unbeaten is going to be average, and it's going to start becoming average. But I think they win and get the season back on track. I don't think they'll be in the Super Bowl. The power of Donald and friendship is not a winning formula.
Yeah, no, I think I'll backtrack on that one when you ask me again in a couple of weeks' time who you think is going to be in the Super Bowl. Finally, we have the most boring team in football versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Chiefs, for context, for anyone who didn't work that one out already. Kian, you can start us off to round off as the biggest Chiefs hater on the podcast.
On the planet. Honest to God, they're so frustrating to watch. A good team beats them on Sunday. A good team beats them. They were shocking. I really didn't think much of them at all. We gifted them their opportunities. And they did their best to gift us opportunities as well. But because of who we are and the players we've got, we couldn't take them. Only beating us by one touchdown when you've got all that firepower is embarrassing. But I'm still going to go with the Chiefs, to be honest with you. I'm struggling to see where they lose that game. They're winning games when they're not playing very well. Mahomes isn't going to keep throwing interceptions. That's just not Mahomes. So, yeah, for me, they're going to win again. And it's really, really upsetting.
Are you done?
Yeah, I am. Just about.
See, I've got the books written down because, as we all know, I love betting against the Chiefs. However, I've already made a few rogue decisions this week, and I've just remembered that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are out, so I'm picking Kansas City this week. I've changed my mind. That's literally the only reason behind it. If the Bucks were fully fit, I would have fully backed the Bucks and genuinely believed that they would win that game. But I've remembered the injuries, and I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah, I really don't want to do it, but I feel like I'm going to have to go for the Chiefs. The Bucks, if they had Evans and Godwin, I might have been swayed towards a potential upset because they will lose at some point, and where it comes, I don't know. I feel like probably Buffalo or I can't remember who else they're playing. They're playing another good team in their little run bar. It's a really easy game. Houston, that's the one. It'll be one of them two, I think, where they get their loss, but with this Bucks team, I just don't see it being them. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and that rounds off our prediction. So, we said about Kane at the start. We'll edit in his predictions here.
And next week, we've got our first guest predictor coming on in the form of Tyler. Hey. He's our
the crowd goes mild.
He's our friend and he's in the Northern System. So Tyler will be on. He's not the biggest NFL fan, but he's a Texans fan, so he'll be fine. And I'm sure we'll probably all beat him. Back over to you.
Yeah, James. Probably. We'll have some guests coming up as well, which we'll be quite excited to announce next week, but we'll let you know about that one next week.
And it's not Tyler.
No, it's not Tyler. For context,
so just have to listen to our waffling. We'll have some more professional people on.
Yeah. So fine, that's our predictions done. So you'll see Kane get another single-figure return by the end of the week. Finally, I got 2 questions for you relating to sort of more of a college football standpoint on things because it is NFL podcast, but we do obviously have the importance of college football can't go underestimated. Firstly, if you could draft any player, disregarding where you think you'll be drafting, let's just say you have the first pick in the draft, clean slate, you could pick whoever you want in this draft. Who would you pick and why? I'll start with you, Kian.
Ashton Genty.
That's not where I thought you were going to go.
I'd pass on both quarterbacks.
Okay.
I don't know who's in the free agent quarterback market next year, but there's got to be someone who's a little bit better than what we've got. Or you wait it out, you be mediocre, and you take Arch Manning in 26. But
That's what James wants to do.
Ashton Genty is a generational running back, and our running back room is so bad. So, yeah, I'd bypass both them quarterbacks. I don't think either of them are great. So, yeah, Ashton Genty, you are a Raider if I am the general manager.
Max?
We need a lot. We really need a tackle that can stay on the field for more than half an hour. There's that wide receiver from Arizona. I can't say his first name. The second name McMillan. I can't say his first name. It starts with a T, but he looks pretty good. And then obviously you've got Shadur, Cam Ward. Keen, do you want to do a rendition of Shadur Santa's rap song for us?
I think we'd get cancelled if I did a rendition.
No.
Yeah, no, I think I want a quarterback, but I don't actually know if we'll take one because the Deshaun contract is still looming. So if we don't take a quarterback, a receiver or a tackle for me is the main need. I've just dropped something. Go on, James.
See, Kia made the point about Arch Manning, which it still plays on my mind, but then I remember who is our quarterback, and then it sort of doesn't. I'm gonna. It's probably cheating, but I'm gonna say in 2 scenarios. So in the scenario where we're awful for another season, I take Travis Hunter at that corner spot. We need secondary help desperately, and he's unbelievably good. I take Hunter and sit it out, be terrible again, potentially just release Daniel Jones, just pay the fee, just suffer the loss of whatever it is, and just sign a free agent who's half decent. There'll be someone. Anyone's better than Daniel Jones at this point.
Deshaun Watson.
So I'd either do that, Travis Hunter, and wait for Arch Manning in 26 and literally not win a single game next year, or I go Cam Ward if I have to pick quarterback. I think he's the best quarterback in the class. I think I was high on Milrow before, but after watching more, I saw him play against the Volunteers. He just looks a bit. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about him I just don't like.
There's something missing from his game.
Yeah, and there was a horrendous character issue waiting to happen, and I don't want to get involved with that. So I'd say if we're going to take quarterback, 100% I go Cam Ward. If we're not, I go Travis Hunter. Or apart from that, I don't think there's anyone else I'd want on secondary. Doesn't really make top receivers.
We've both mentioned the free agent quarterback market. Current quarterbacks who would fall into that if they're not offered a new deal are Sam Darnold, and I wouldn't be shocked because JJ McCarthy is there. That depends how that season finishes out. And you've got a couple of decent ones. I mean, Mariota's okay. And I mean, he's going to get. I know, actually, and he might not get one either. Justin Fields. So there's 3 decent quarterbacks that you can pick there in the free agent market if you're trying to sit for Arch Manning.
We could do. I wouldn't mind Justin Fields at all. I don't see why he's been dropped in the first place in Pittsburgh. So I wouldn't mind a bit of Justin Fields in New York. Happy to take him, but we'll see what happens with that one. Finally, Kian, you posed this question. So do you want to? I mean. It was
such a silly question.
Would the best team in college, so currently Oregon, who are the number 1 ranked team according to the poll, beat the worst NFL team, which is currently the Carolina Panthers?
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Kian, would they win the game?
No.
It was your question.
No, I don't really know why I thought of this question. It was on paper, it's a good question to ask. But then you did make the good point of, I mean, I'm going to use the Raiders, not the Panthers, because I think the Panthers are a better team than us. You made the point of Max Crosby running an 18-year-old freshman, and I sort of just went, shit, yeah. The only argument you've got for the other teams is look at when these players come into the NFL, how they can change franchises, like Jaden Daniels has done with the Commanders. I think that's a lot of his back. I do think it'd be a whitewash, but I don't know. It's an interesting question for sure, but I think we'd probably beat them. So please, can we keep them as far away as possible? I love this losing culture that we've got going on. Just lose, baby. That's the new slogan.
Yeah, as I said, as you said there, the thought of Crosby running at a freshman 18-year-old kid would be absolutely hilarious. I think it would be the funniest game of football ever because these collegiate teams are good, as you said. There's players in these teams which can come into the NFL and transform these franchises, but there is also literal children on these teams who would go up against grown men. I can't imagine like a freshman lineman going up against like offense. Let's say I'll put the Giants to this question. Dexter Lawrence charging at freshman offensive lineman would be hilarious to watch. Because imagine Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Azeez Ojulari as a 3 running at the quarterback in collegiate football. I think it would just be hilarious. But, I wouldn't see a world where they'd even come close in that game. Max, I'm assuming you agree.
I think the thing about a college versus an NFL team is they could make differences in like the skill positions, like receivers, maybe the quarterbacks, definitely. But a game like that is probably just going to be win and lost in the trenches because of the size difference and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think the Ducks would beat the Panthers.
Yeah, that's all from us this week, I think. Next week, we'll be back with more predictions after they either go really well or really badly. I think we've been a bit more out there this week. Yeah. So we might see a bit of variety in who wins the week. Thank you for Kian and Max for joining me. So next week, we'll be back with a recap of all the news from week 9, our prediction results, and we will make our predictions for week 10. So thank you all for watching this week, and we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, see you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Cheers.